Actually, I should change this. Hello.
Hello. How's it going? It looks dark where you are.
Hello?
Oh,
We're driving in the car.
Okay.
Aw.
We have a question.
I am Jamie, Jordan's mom.
Okay.
And Delphine had just sent me the link. Tina's mom.
Christina's mom.
Christina. Yeah. Amina.
Okay.
Because I had thought I filled out the whole email also to join, but I hadn't heard anything back.
There's no emails.
But we just got home from Florida late last night.
Mm-hmm.
There we are.
Yep, she had shared your email.
Okay.
And I have a question.
Let's see who we got here. We got so here's Jen. So we got Jen here. Sarah is here.
With Dora.
Sarah is here. Oh. We got Riley, Heiser Honig. Okay, who else? Delphine. I'm just checking off, so making sure I get this to whoever is not here. Ruben, Delphine, Jen, Lauren, and Monique. Lauren Oppenheisen. Okay, and then can you help me with who was that was talking that was saying maybe you're not on the list or you didn't get an email or something? Who was that?
Yep. Jordan Swainston.
Can you spell it all for me?
It's Jordyn
Mhm.
and last name Swain.
Okay. And that is as your daughter's name?
Yes.
Yeah, I do not have that name signed up. What grade?
7th.
7th.
Yep. We did the link, the sign up link. Back on October 5th, actually. It was on my birthday.
And what's your name?
Jamie, Jamie, same last name.
All right, Swainson. Okay. I will need an email for you so that I can send you the link to or the invite to the Teamsnap page. What is your email?
Okay. It is Jamie, period, precision property at yahoo.com.
Okay. I'll make sure I do a little Teamsnap invite for you in the next day or so.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let's see who else we got here. Megan's here. All right, so we're missing a few people. I heard from one person that was not able to attend, so I'm recording this for them. But I think we're going to get started, even though we're missing a few people, if that's all right with everyone. Is that good? Okay. I see some head nods. So if you are able to put your video on, that is always really helpful for us because it's hard for people that are trying to convey information to do that to blank screens. So if you're able to keep your video on, it's really helpful for the coaches. If you can't do that, please turn it off. And that's okay, but if possible, turn it on. So thank you. My name is Kevin Bruni. I'm the athletic director at Grand Rapids Christian Middle School. Excited for a cheer season that was going to happen and then not happen, and now it's happening. So we're excited for that. And we're thankful to our coaches, Coach Dora and Coach Sarah, who are right here. So why don't we take a minute and you guys can introduce yourselves, kind of who you are, what, and why you're excited about doing this. So why don't you start us off, Dora?
Hi, I'm Dora. I'm going to be your kids' coach this season. I'm just excited to teach them this because I did it through high school and I loved it so much. So I can't wait to teach them about my favorite sport.
Sarah?
Woo! I'm Sarah Young. I am Brinley's mom, and I am just being involved as sort of an assistant coach, supporting Dora, and however she needs help. So let's see, my daughter, this will be her 3rd year doing competitive cheer, and she loved it. And so I'm just here to help. So that's my role.
Yeah, so Dora, and thank you, Sarah. So
Yeah,
Dora has not been a head coach before, but she has a ton of experience and has some really good mentors that are going to be helping her along with Sarah through the sport. And so she obviously knows the rules. She understands the different rounds. She understands the things that I don't understand, which is like all of the technicalities of each round and how to earn points and maximize points based on how many people we put out there in each round and all of those things. So she'd certainly be able to help us in the most technical ways. And she's really excited about her first opportunity to coach the sport of competitive cheer. So we're excited to have her and excited to kind of be a part of this with her. Many of your kids are learning the sport. They're interested in it. She knows the sport, but she's learning a little bit about coaching, and that's totally fine. That's why we're excited to have her, and we can't wait for you guys to come around and support her with the things that she'll need to make this a successful year. So thank you to Coach Dora and Coach Sarah, and to all of you for helping us make this hopefully a positive experience for all of our kids in our school. So a couple things that I like to talk about. Some of you have done sideline cheer before. Some of you have not done competitive before. So the first thing I'm going to ask Coach Dora is, what is the big differences between sideline and competitive for the people that maybe this is their first time doing competitive cheer?
So competitive is all points pretty much. Sideline is just cheering for another team. But this time you're just the team yourself playing for the points. So each skill is going to be that we put into the round is going to be a certain amount of points towards our total overall.
And so there's 2 rounds that we compete in. Can you tell us a little about the 2 rounds? Like, is it round 1? Is it round 2, round 3? Like, what are the 2 that we're in, and a little bit about the differentiation of the 2 rounds?
So for middle school, it's just round 2 and round 3. And round 2 is going to be tumbling. And so that's like gymnastics, jumps, motions. And then round 3 is going to add like stunting to all of that. Yeah.
And so it's not just that, though. There's like a cadence and a cheer with words that you guys are saying as you go about all these things, right?
Yeah. So we want to make sure that their voices are loud enough too, which is one thing I'm going to work on with them. Because I saw one of the videos from last season and they were a little quiet, and the louder we are, the more points we're going to get for that.
Because there's a lot of things about cheer that I've learned that are different than other sports. It's a judged sport, right? So you're competing against other teams, but it's really about what the judges think of you, and confidence is a big part of that. So being unified, being loud, being on point with the synchronization is more than half the battle. And then if you can multiply the points, you can do that with your stunting and your gymnastics to kind of multiply those points. But that's kind of the key, which are similar to sideline cheer in the loudness, the cadence, trying to be together. And so, so thank you for explaining that for people that might be newer to the sport. There are some interesting uniform requirements. Is there anything, Dora, that you were, looking through the manual recently that jumps out at you as like something we have to have? I know last year we kind of had like ribbons that were the coaches made or something like that would go in their hair that would match the bows. Sorry, bows, not ribbons, bows. And then shoes and things like that. Like, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we'll need bows. I don't know. I haven't thought about how to get those yet, but I'll figure that out soon. We just need those for the competitions. And then shoes all have to be white. They can't have any color on them, just plain white. You can just look up cheer shoes online and it'll come up with a lot of options. My favorite was Infinity, and it starts with an N, Infinity. Those were my favorite in high school, so that's an option too. But if you want to go cheaper, you can find some shoes on Amazon, just cheer shoes.
No
And they
glitter,
should just be
right?
all white. Huh?
No glitter or anything on them, right?
Yeah, no, they just have to be plain white shoes. And they can be any brand as long as they're all white.
And then like things to like, we are going to provide a uniform top and a uniform skirt. But like, as far as like the unders of that, that's a personal item that you all will purchase. What is there? Probably the same color as the base color of our uniform. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So it would be black. Okay. So, those can be worn, or purchased by your family in black, and that will go with our uniform. Is there sock requirements?
I will have to look at that when I get the manual physically, because I didn't see anything yet.
Are they short? Are they long? Like,
I
I'm sure
think
there's
they're
something to
long.
that.
I think they're long. Mine always were, so I'll have to check and see if it says anything about that once I get the manual.
And you can fill them in during practice and whatnot, as we get closer. What about practice apparel, right? So everybody has kind of a different idea of what you wear to practices of things. Like, so is there anything that you want to make sure that the girls have, like, we want to wear this when we come to practice at the Quest Center?
Well, definitely your cheer shoes. They should always have their cheer shoes on them. And the socks, once I figure out what those are, because sometimes for stunting, long socks are a lot easier to have than short ones. And then
I mean, is it like, should they wear shorts? Should they wear pants, exercise pants? But, do you have anything like that where you want to make sure the girls are all kind of wearing a similar thing or something like that?
I would just say wear anything you're comfortable in. That's kind of what we did for our practices in high school. If
But
you
no
get hot,
jeans
wear
or
shorts.
anything like that, right?
No, yeah, just like athletic pants and shorts are fine, and t-shirts are fine. So yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about practices. One of the things that we've done in the past for everybody that's here is we've tried to come up with, here's the 3 days we want to do it. How close are we to getting everybody there on those days? Because a lot of people have different, things that they're doing in their lives, which is what middle school is all about. And so we try to figure that out. I think Dora and I, we talked about trying to get a consistent practice time of 6 to 7:30 in the evenings. And we were also trying to kind of think about like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. That way, if you have church things Wednesday, that works really well for you to go to church things or gems or some of the other fun activities that are happening at churches Wednesdays. And that way, if we needed to use a Friday, like I know in the past, the coaches have sometimes said like, hey, we have a competition this week. We're going to try to go one extra day on Friday. That leaves us that option to go Friday if we need to. Does Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 6 to 7:30 seem like something we can pull off? I'd like to hear from each of the people in the meeting on a regular basis. So I guess first would be Jordan and I forget who it was, Monique, that were on the iPhone app in the car.
Oh, Jamie
Jamie,
and
sorry.
Jordan.
Jordan, his daughter. Yeah, sorry.
Yes. Jordan does have dance at Caledonia Dance Center. That's actually where we just left on Monday and Wednesday from 6 to 6:30 only. So we could quick,
From
jump
Caledonia.
over from, it would be from Caledonia to Quest. So a good
Okay.
15, 18 minutes,
Okay.
20
Thank
if
you,
it's a
Jamie.
lot of traffic,
What about Bethany? Good to go? Okay. How about
Those-
Lauren? Oppenheisen, are you
So-
guys good?
We're good with that day, those times.
Bethany, Lauren, good. Megan? Taylor?
Yeah, I just have her travel basketball schedule, but I think we can, worst case scenario, we can split some of those times. I know that's important to make sure it's equal if we do. So
Yep. Okay. Thank you. Abram.
Yeah, it should work for the most part. Tuesdays, Valeria has gymnastics at 7 at night, but she could probably come at least like to the first half of practice those nights, and Monday and Thursday are good.
Okay. So 7 p.m. till 8. Okay. Who else we got? Jen, are you able to answer, Jen?
Yep, we can make any of that time work.
Okay. How about Ruben? Coach, are you able to make that time work?
Yeah, I can make it work.
Okay. How about Monique?
Yeah, yes, we'll make it work. We'll make it work.
Okay. Okay. And then Delphine, and I think I saw in the chat that we're good with the generouses. Delphine, are you able to make Monday, Tuesday, Thursday a possibility?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. Did I miss anybody else? Is there somebody on the other screen that I didn't ask yet? I think we got everybody. So yeah, that's most of the people on the team. Looks like we can make that time work. For Jordan, we've got Monday 6 to 6:30. I mean, I think we could. It would be fine with me. Like our basketball program, our volleyball stuff like that. They practice 6:30 to 8. And so if we wanted to adjust like Monday to be 6:30 to 8, so that Jordan could, have a better chance to make the majority of that practice, that's something we could do. And then on Tuesday, Thursday, we could stick to 6 to 7:30. But I don't want to mess with people if you don't like having a different time in there. Is it better just to have the same time? Like how does that work for people? Like my family's pretty busy, so keeping a consistent time is helpful for us, but I want to make sure that we set the schedule the way that makes the most sense for everyone. So that's why I'm asking right now. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Should we adjust the Monday one to start at 6:30 to 8 and all the rest of them are 6 to 7:30? What do you think? Go ahead, type in the chat if you can, and just let us know. People say adjusted works. It is important for the girls to be at practice. Like we cannot have a working routine, coach. I'm sure you would say the same thing if we only have 9 of the 14 girls there every night, right? We gotta find a way to get them there as much as possible, understanding we might miss a girl from for a few minutes every once in a while. But if adjusted times work, I think that gives us the best chance, because then Abram, they can go from 6 to 6:45 or so on that Tuesday, and Jordan can get there probably by 6:50, so she'd miss maybe 20 minutes but still be able to be there for an hour. And Thursday it seems like everybody can make it, so if we want to do that adjusted time, it's fine with me. I'll put it in the schedule that way. So coach, we're going to start next week with a 6:30 to 8 on Mondays and a 6 to 7:30 on the other 2 days. And just so that everyone in here knows, we're going to talk about Teamsnap next, but I invited you all to Teamsnap today. She'll put all these practices in, and that way, if you're on there, you're going to get a reminder even on that day of like, hey, it's 6:30 today on Mondays, right? Like it'll give you an automatic reminder. So she'll put all those practices in, and then that way, if you have something you want to connect with her about, please do that through email or through Teamsnap once you're on there. But I think based on what we have in this meeting, I think we have a time where it looks like the majority of us can be there the majority of the time. So that's our best case scenario. And so that's always something I want to make sure that we get taken care of. So that would be Mondays, 6:30 to 8. And then Tuesday, Thursday is 6 to 7:30. And coach, you can start putting those in. What we're going to do this week is we're going to practice tomorrow, Tuesday, 6 to 7:30, Wednesday, 6 to 7:30, and Thursday, 6 to 7:30, right? That's kind of what we sent out in the email, coach. And so
Yeah.
we're going to stick with that this week. People are planning on it, but we are going to stop going on Wednesdays whenever possible, just so that we can do some of those church things. Okay. So coach will update the Teamsnap. Please make sure you check your email. Whichever email I sent like this invite to, that's the one that got invited to Teamsnap. All you have to do is accept that invite in your email. If you did not get that invite, please put it in the chat for me and I'll try to resend it to you. But that way everybody's connected to the team. You can add all your contact information in there that you want coach to have. If you put a cell phone number in there on Teamsnap, you will be able to be texted with certain reminders instead of just always on email. So there is some advantages if you do add a phone on there. And also helps with like carpooling. If you want to talk to a parent about, hey, would you be willing? I know you live kind of close to us. Would you be willing to take my daughter home tonight? Or could you bring her tonight? That sort of thing. So getting your contact in there for people is really helpful for our ability to help each other out. Any questions from anybody in here about practice days or Teamsnap? Good. Okay. The meet schedule, I don't know, did you send that out already, coach? The meet schedule?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so I'll tell you right now, she'll put it into Teamsnap. But on December 2, it's a Saturday, that's at Thornapple Kellogg. That's our first meet is December 2 at Thornapple Kellogg. Same one we did last year for our first meet. And our second meet is on the next Saturday at Jennison. I don't have specifics on the date, on the time for that, but the Thornapple Kellogg meet is at 10 a.m. So December 2 is at 10 a.m. at Thornapple Kellogg High School. On 12/9 or December 9, that's at Jennison, and we don't have specifics for that one yet. And then our last one is the same last one we always do, which is Friday night. I believe it's Friday night. December 15 at West Catholic. We always do that one at West Catholic for the last one. And so those are our three meets. Again, we have kind of one a week the last 3 weeks of our season. It gives us a lot of time to prepare and then some opportunities to compete and improve and then try again and then improve and then try one last time. So it's a good kind of a good ramp up to seeing how good we can get. So that's our match schedule or meet schedule. Any questions at this point?
Kevin, how many girls are there signed up?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, and it looks like 14.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful.
14. Now,
And then
now
age
this
one,
is where
that
this is the
fit?
part, and Megan, this is great. I'm sorry. Did you have another follow-up to that?
Well, I was just wondering age-wise, is that 5th through 8th or is that 6th, 7th, 8th?
6, 7, 8. Yep, 6, 7,
Okay.
8. We're only allowed to go down to 6th for MHSA contests. So 6, 7, 8. But that also brings up an interesting point, which I always like to talk with the coaches about in front of everyone so that you can hear a little bit of their philosophy. But coach would not be wise to put all 14 people in each one of these, right? Like probably what's going to happen is she's going to design a routine that will include a portion of the 14, right? But maybe not all 14 in each round. And the reason for that is simply put, in basketball, you don't start 5 centers, right? You don't usually start 5 point guards. In football, you wouldn't start 11 quarterbacks, right? So your daughter has different skills and abilities and positions, even in cheer. So coach, can you talk a little bit about the different positions in cheer and kind of what you're looking for positions and trying to figure out who's going to do what?
So it's mostly just with the tumbling and what looks best. So I'm gonna go see like what the girls can do and put in what will look best and the most in like unison together, the cleanest look. Same with like jumps, we want them to all look pretty similar. And then for stunting, just kind of depends on what each of the girls can do for that.
And so like with the
Who's
gymnastics,
strong enough
Yeah.
to hold someone else over their head.
Yeah.
And then the flyer,
Yeah,
who's comfortable being thrown up in the air. Some girls, that's scary and don't want to do that.
Mhm.
So
even if
it's-
they would be a good choice for that position, they might not want to do that. They would not be forced to do that. And
Right.
sometimes like a girl that maybe would be not very confident being a spotter in that scenario may not end up doing that. Now, at the same time, we know that in sport, we as coaches put people in positions where we need them to learn this, and they need to do something that they might have a challenge with. Challenge is okay. Learning something new is okay. And so we respect the fact that, people like in basketball, I want to be a point guard. Well, not everybody gets to be a point guard. We already have two other ones. Maybe you're going to be a forward, and we're going to teach you a little bit of those skills, and we're going to change the offense a little bit to fit in extra guards or something like that. Like there's things coaches do to work with the personnel that they have, but it's also okay for coaches to challenge and push your daughter into challenging positions in the routine, right? Within reason, right? Of course, just like any coach. Certainly you're not going to put a 5 foot tall, 95-pound person on the defensive line in football and say, good luck. We need a defensive lineman. They're not going to do that. That wouldn't be fair. So again, same thing, but I just want you to know, like, it does function just like all these other things, that there's positions and coaches are going to push and that sort of thing. Now, coach, we always try to make sure that we have each of the girls in one of the 2 rounds. And so that's something that we are going to make sure happens. We had already talked about that, but just so parents, that's kind of like the playing time equivalent. Some of the girls will be in both because maybe what they can do fits into both pretty well. Some of the girls may only be in one of the 2 rounds, right? But they will all be in one of the 2 rounds. Do you have anything else you wanted to say about kind of that idea or how that might work?
Not really, but I mean, I was always never in round 2 in high school because I couldn't tumble, so it's going to happen. Round 2, I think, does have a specific amount of girls that does need to be in it. So I think that is 10 girls, but I'll have to double check. So.
Yeah, I think there's different amounts and it just changes the multiplier, I think is what the previous coaches had said. So, but there is like specific amounts that go in, right? Like there's like benchmarks of like 8, 10, 12, like there's something like that where,
yeah.
So yeah, you'll figure that out and see. Anything else I'm missing in that form of the conversation, coach?
I don't think so. Nope.
Does that make sense to everybody with kind of how playing time, I guess, in some way works for cheer? So other 2 things I like to ask people about is like, coach, how do they cheer at the tournaments? So like in basketball, we try to talk to our parents about not cheering against the other team. We don't want them to give officials a hard time. We don't want them to coach from the stands in basketball. But here's some things they can do. They can be really encouraging. They can, try to be really effective with the kids of making sure that they feel energized and excited and cheering for the good things that they do. And even for the other team, cheering for the other team when they make a great play, right? And if you don't have something good to say, we kind of tell them, don't say anything then, So how can the parents, there's a certain culture to cheering at cheer tournaments. Can you tell them a little bit about that?
I remember like our parents would always bring like cowbells or signs and stuff to kind of encourage us during the rounds. But yeah, just cheer back. If we're cheering at you and it's something that you have to say back to us, we want to hear it as loud as possible, because otherwise it's gonna maybe discourage the girls a little bit. As long as they hear that, then they know that
someone's paying attention.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. And so like when you say like, we want you to say, let's go blue, and then they're waiting, like that's when you need to be like screaming it back at them. So sit together, right? It's kind of another thing we do, right?
Yeah.
We sit together. And I think there's like tables and stuff. Megan has been one of our people that's helped with table design and the fun of all that. And I know a lot of you have contributed to that as well. And so, we'll leave that to the parents to kind of do some of those fun things that I know are a big part of the tournament culture. So yeah, Megan, you've done that in the past. What kinds of things have you asked people to do, or, to bring, or whatever?
Oh, I think Sarah will be a good asset to this too. She was also very instrumental in that, but we just usually put together a sign up genius for people to bring snacks, and usually we'll figure out some decorations for the tables. Some teams go all out. I don't know that it's totally necessary, just because they're not at the tables for very long. because their tournaments are not as long as like high school tournaments. So we usually try to make something for each of the girls for each of the tournaments and decorate a table and bring lots of, I mean, not lots of food, but everybody will sign up for something that will kind of sustain the girls in between their performances or whatever they're called.
Okay. Thank you very much. And then Coach, what's the best way for people to communicate with you? Do you prefer that they just send you emails? Are you going to provide on your contact information on Teamsnap, like you prefer texting? Do you want them to just work through the messaging on Teamsnap? There's like a group chat on Teamsnap, which is pretty good way to ask questions and things like that. What's the best way for them to connect with you?
You can just email or text me. I'll put my email and my phone number in Teamsnap for everyone to see. So you can just email or text me. Either one I'll look at every day. So
yeah. And one thing that we try to make sure that we do with all of our sports, but you know, cheer being one that's not really on our campus, it's at the high school campus, if everybody remembers that, at the Quest Center. And so you'll drop off kind of at the high school, which sometimes can be a little different when you're used to being at the middle school. But at the main Quest Center entrance there, the doors will be open. The girls will come in the lobby and they'll take a left, you know, right at the gym there. And the second room that you see, the first one is a golf room. The second one is like the cheer and wrestling room. That's where they'll go. But we also try to be very timely with that. Like, cheer teams practice for a really long time. We practice for an hour and a half, and we're only practicing 3 days a week. So we really want to make sure that we get all those minutes used well. And so please try to be timely. Coach will be really, even if people are late, coach is going to be done at the end time, so that you're not sitting in your car at 7:30 or 8 o'clock still waiting to go home. So she will make sure she's done right on time. If you can make sure that they're there right on time, that's helpful. And also, if you need help getting somebody home, that's good, because coach has to stay at school until everybody's picked up. And she's a student, a nursing student, and, you know, all those sorts of things. So we want to respect her time as well. So please try to be timely with drop-offs and pickups as well at the high school. Okay. Any questions from anybody about stuff we didn't cover or something you wondered about? Yes, Lauren.
Sorry. So for at each competition, then they'll always, depending on where you place them, there will be like round 2 and round 3. So,
yes.
Okay. And how long are competition, like days? Like what should we anticipate? 2 hours, 3 hours?
That's what I can't really remember, is how long they usually are, but it usually depends on how many teams are going to be there. Yeah, so it'll just depend on how many teams are there. Sometimes I think it was like 3 hours, maybe.
I feel like 3 hours max.
Yeah.
I think high school is more like hunker down all day and bring crock pot meals, and middle school isn't that. There aren't as many teams, so it just doesn't go as long.
Yeah.
Is what we've discovered in the past years.
So as a follow-up to Lauren's question, then, like, because we're round 2 and 3, there's a high school round 1 that will happen in its entirety at the start time before we're even up, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct, Megan? Anybody returners, do you remember that to be the case, that the high school will function their whole round 1 before we even get a chance to do anything?
I don't know if that is necessarily true.
High schoolers were there. No, the
That's
high
not
schoolers
necessarily
weren't
true.
there with us. It was just middle school teams. But I think high school does have 3 rounds.
They do.
Yeah.
I
don't know
have
what
a
they
memory,
do.
Lauren, of them sending a like an order of events almost to the coaching staff prior.
Yeah.
That will kind of say like it starts at 10, but it has like, you know, and then you can see like, okay, we're second in round 2 because the middle school goes before the high school in that one. So then, you know, you got to get there a little earlier than maybe you would think, you know. So like there's kind of an order of events that I think coach should be able to give a pretty good show up time and a pretty good estimate on an end time.
And I do remember each team gets a specific warm-up time that was pretty early compared to the start time.
Okay.
So I feel like we were getting there, let's say at 8 o'clock, even if it was a 10 o'clock meet. So what a lot of parents did drop your kid off, go home and deal with your other kids, get your breakfast, and then come back when the meet is going to start. Because that way the team gets warm up time on the mat. Each mat feels a little different to get situated.
Do they also have practice times in like a different room? Because we
Yes.
had that.
Yeah.
So we don't want to miss those practice times either. So making sure that your daughter is on time is really important for those, because if you miss those practice times, you're not getting that back. So
Okay,
Yeah, I
thank
do
you.
remember
I'm
there's like
going
a
in
staging
blind.
room or something, like before you go on, you have, it's like,
Yeah.
when you're like, for baseball terms, like when you're on deck, you're standing there watching, but when you're in the hole, like third up next, you're kind of in a room doing
yeah.
like your stuff. Yeah, I remember that. We hosted a few meets years ago, so I kind of remember that.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm going in blind. I have no idea what to expect. So thanks.
Well,
It's
expect
fun. The
perfection.
parents,
No, I'm
it's
just
fun.
kidding.
All the parents sit together and we have Gatorade bottles with beads in them that we can shake and make noise and cheer for everybody. And it really is a nice environment. You know, we'll go against teams that maybe have 30 girls, but then we'll also go against teams that, there's only like 4. And so like the whole stands are cheering for that little squad of 4 girls. And it's a positive
fun.
experience overall. It's a lot of fun.
And that is one thing to like, I always try to remind people of, like, we have 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So we have a wide range in middle school. Like if you think of a 6th grader trying to play basketball with 8th graders, or a 6th grade soccer player trying to play with 8th graders, it's a huge discrepancy of ability and bodies, right? Like it's just totally different. And it's similar in this, like we have to remember our girls are all learning at different levels and they all are in different forms of development. And the key is like in a sport that's judged, like literally it's just judged. It's not like everybody gets judged in football the same way to win or lose, but in this it is hard. And so reminding your daughter of just like, we're learning, we're growing, we're getting better, we're trying to build something. And it's really the long game, just like enjoy the process of getting better and learn from the things that go wrong. I mean, there's not a better sport to do that than you have to look at what you made mistakes on, own them, and move forward and learn. Like it's just really a challenging sport because of the judging, but also as a parent, like one of the best ways you can help your daughter is just to say, hey, keep going, keep getting better. The more you guys practice, the more you're intentional in your practices, the more you're really trusting the coach, the better chance we're going to have to all be in unison and be better. So, as a parent, really work on that kind of narrative, especially in a sport where girls are judged on, literally they get points on the way they look, right? Like the way that the uniforms look. Like it's a very challenging sport that way, but at the same time, it's a great opportunity for us to really show the girls what we care about most for them, which is, the work ethic, getting better, staying positive, encouraging each other in a challenging thing. Somebody's going to drop somebody at some point and somebody's going to clap at the wrong time. It's just the way it goes. And like how we handle those things is maybe the most important part of cheer versus the score that we get. So I always try to encourage parents and the coaches just remember those things in a very challenging sport, one of the most demanding sports that's out there. It's a challenging sport, and we're grateful for the chance to do it. Any other questions before we go? Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay, so I looked up those cheer shoes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't spend $120. So
No,
does
but
anybody
they do
else
actually-
in the group like have a recommendation of something that's like not that's worked for their child?
We just
I
bought
don't-
some for
so-
$40 at the mall.
Yeah, I was about to say they have some on Amazon. My mom actually just sent me a link for it.
Okay.
And they
Do you
are,
want
I
to, you don't
think,
want to drop it in the
$30.
chat, do you?
Yeah, I can try to do that. I don't know how to do that though.
Or we
Okay.
can email
I can email
Yeah, or
it to you
email.
guys,
That would
too.
be so helpful.
Yeah, because I think they're only like $30 on here.
And the other thing,
Okay.
thinking about what you need, it's just the socks, shoes, and plain white socks, not a Nike swoosh, nothing.
Yep.
The little things to go under
The
are different
spandex.
from when I cheered. Like I feel like Brinley wore just like itty bitty volleyball shorts. Those are pretty tiny. And you could most of the girls I think just wore those under the skirt.
Okay.
So you just have to have something to cover your underwear,
Yeah.
essentially. So you can get official cheer bloomers that are black, or just the little short volleyball shorts worked great too.
Okay. Thank you. That's it. I don't have any more questions.
And I'll be standing probably like for practices, just to make sure everyone's comfortable. I'll probably be greeting girls at the door at the Quest Center so they can look for me. And then Dora will be in the
Wednesday?
cheer room and we'll be heading them in. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
did someone say something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
had
think
a
that's a great
question
idea.
for
Sarah,
Kevin.
thank you for doing
When
that,
is-
standing at the door. So there's like a familiar face there. And then
Yeah.
Dora can kind of be in the hallway when they go in the gym and kind of waving people down. And you're welcome the first day to stop in and get a look at it. Parents, of course. I think once you see it one time and you feel confident your daughter knows where she's going and we got the coaches there, I think you'll be good to go. But if you want to come in and take a look real quick, you obviously can do that.
And we maybe bring a water bottle too.
Yeah.
So
Good idea.
everyone's not constantly going to the
Yeah.
drinky fountain.
When
Okay.
are we passing out uniforms? Do we know that yet? I would have
We
that
don't know that.
question.
That's something we can figure out later. The coaches, the previous coaches have, I have a key for you guys, of course, of the like the uniform room and the cheer room, but they have the uniforms. Some of them are stored still at their house, so she's gonna bring those in. Because they've been the coaches for like 8 or 9 years, so they kind of had a way they were doing it, which they're not going to be able to do. So they're going to bring them in for me. So I'm working with them on that kind of changeover right now.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Coach will make sure you accept the Teamsnap, and Coach will start communicating through there. If you didn't get the Teamsnap, please let me know as soon as you can, and I'll make sure we resend it to you. Okay. Thank you very much, and let's have a great year.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye. See you guys tomorrow.